Welcome to The Smart Athlete. Insightful conversations with some of the smartest athletes, coaches, and trainers around the world. In these conversations, we hear future goals, daily habits, and the nuanced steps of the athlete en route to successful craft, all hosted by Britt Smart.
Welcome back to the Smart Athlete podcast. Our next guest is Ben Patrick, also known as Knees Over Toes Guy on Instagram, founder of Athletic Truth Group, also known as ATG. He is changing knee ability all over the world, as well as human ability through his coaches mentorship program called ATG for Coaches, led by Keegan Smith.
This podcast is sponsored by Big Dog, a locally owned clothing label specializing in lifestyle and sporting wear, because big dogs do it better. To find out more about Big Dog, go to bigdog.com.au.
Sometimes doing repetition over repetition when I'm doing a basketball workout, let's say, if I want to get 50 step backs, 50 crossovers, 50 whatever, it's the same movement over and over again, kind of like marathon runners, whatever it is. And I sometimes find that more taxing than doing a little 3-on-3, a little 3-on-2, a little game, because you're changing movements all the time.
That's usually what gets us is the overuse, So it's so easy to get overuse injuries and knee pain and whatever from basketball, not to mention just the baseline of the more we run, the lower our vertical goes. So it's like, well, shit, how do I get skilled at my sport? And well, the good thing is we don't have to be as strong as Olympic weightlifters, but funny enough for basketball players, like the number one thing you can do is like get strong in an ass to grass squat. If there was like one thing a basketball player could do, and of course there's a bunch of things because you might then still have shin splints or this or that, but in terms of the big one, which is knee pain and lack of vertical jump, those are like the two things that plague basketball players: wanting to jump higher and be more explosive, having knee pain, but then doing all this running. Okay, you do 500 shots in a workout. So what is that, like 500 low jumps? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like a recipe for disaster. So yeah, if there was one piece of advice, it would be get strong in a full squat, which usually has to be regressed to an ATG split squat, which usually has to be regressed to step ups. But that's kind of the whole purpose of the ATG system, is for people with jacked up knees, wrecked bodies to be able to progress. So that's the trick for basketball players, is actually if you never get stronger. So like, as if we went just really general, if you never jacked up your tibialis, your Nordic, and your squat, you might never really go anywhere in terms of altering your genetic athleticism. Because if you do some general strengthening, but now you're doing all this endurance work, it's hard to break that cycle. So like if I had to give like three for, if all a basketball player did is if you could just do tibialis raises, like loading up on that tib bar, get a Nordic bench for your freaking apartment, and then every time you're in a gym, elevate your heels and try to improve your max squat.
Yeah,
that would be a really rough example. That would be a microcosm of what I'm trying to progress basketball players to the ability to do, Well,
I mean, that's huge, especially that in-season stuff. I was in a hub this last season for our pro season here in Australia. So it was just trying to figure out when to do what at what time, playing every other day, every other game. It's just such a condensed season, but we had to kind of get it in to have a season. And that was that. And then trying to balance, when do you do calf raises? Do you do them? Does light sled forwards and backwards kind of substitute that? Because I've had, as an almost 36-year-old still playing, my problem has been either overtraining, overuse, veterans doing the same thing as rookies, or I have 12, 13, more years on them. So it's just that balance, how it looks different. So cool.
You could do, if you like crushed, let's say, a backward sled, that would also be driving up strength. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And through your calves. Mm-hmm. So if all you did was like after the game, if you went and like crushed backward sled, you know what I mean? Or what if you didn't have a squat rack and you crushed split squats with dumbbells? That'd be just as good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have all these tools. The trick in season is actually to train pretty hard and get strong. Mm-hmm. 3 leg sessions a week I've found in season, because you actually have, like, if there's any time that it's really important to do 3 leg sessions a week, it's in season. And sometimes you'll be feeling even better, like after the leg session, like what the fuck's going on? But it's basically, you're trying to do the exact opposite of what you're doing on the court. So like backward sled would be an example of like the opposite of all that forward pounding. And that's why I was saying a deep squat would be the total opposite of playing basketball, which is why, man, when you get like already freak athletes to get stronger in a deep squat, their verticals just go through the roof. And then even for shit athletes like me, get stronger in a deep squat. So what I did is in season, I did 1 session reverse step ups, 1 session split squats, 1 session squats. Because if I just squatted 3 times a week, too much would break down because of my pre-existing imbalances. So hopefully if someone's listening this far, there's like a go-to in-season formula. 1 session, get stronger on a reverse step up. Mm-hmm. 2nd session of the week, get stronger on an ATG split squat to ensure that you're balanced between sides. 3rd session of the week, elevate your heels a little bit so you can get a nice depth, get stronger in a squat. And then your accessory for those could be pretty simple. 1 session of Nordic, 1 session of RDL. Like it becomes pretty simple from there. But if all you did was start with like, even if that's all you had energy for, boom, you could be making pretty good gains in season. And that's kind of the goal, is that at the end of the season, you want to be stronger than when you started. And it's also who you're going against. And most people are getting weaker. Most people are stronger in the off season. They lose a little bit of bounce. They lose a little. So I remember one season I tested and my vertical went up 3 inches in the season. And the end of season testing, all 14 other guys on the team lost inches, right? I was lying to the coach saying I had a trainer. The trainer was just me, but I had to lie to get out of the bullshit team workouts of basically just doing more of the same crap that you're doing on the court. Half squats and more agility drills, like Jesus. So if you add half squats and agility playing basketball, it's the same joint position, same stresses. So the proof is in the pudding. All 14 other guys lost inches on their vertical from the preseason testing to postseason testing. And I gained 3 inches in season. So the game felt easier for me also because the people I'm going against are getting more broken down. But my deep squat was stronger. My split squat was stronger. My reverse step up was stronger by the end of the season.
Yeah, because it's not tearing you down. And I think that's the hardest part is, let's say, the difference between team sports and individual athletes, how to manage load. If you're a coach, I think you coached a basketball team for a little bit. If you're a basketball coach and you have the old and the young, I'm almost 36, but I'm playing against 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds for some. Practice management, how does that go? And still being able to keep that team chemistry that you need.
Practice, because the longer you've been there, the more it's just about having your body in peak condition. Yep. You've already got the mind and the skills. When you're a kid, you can do those 500. So, you want to get in those skills earlier and then be able to reduce, the amount of skill volume and increase the body. Now I took it to some extremes. So I described that in-season program, and believe it or not, my dense strength program and standards, like 2 of my main programs, the only one before that is no weight. And so you can do a little bit more stuff. And then after that is designated for off season. So basically, if you look at the bulk of the ATG system, it is 1 session trying to get stronger in a reverse step up on Monday, on Wednesday, trying to get stronger in ATG split squat, and on Friday, trying to get stronger in a deep squat. So I kept that style because it's like, shit, if this works in season, my God, it works even better in the up, but it still works in season. So ATG was actually kind of born playing basketball and trying to figure out, while playing, how do I get my knees even healthier and jump even higher while playing? You know what I mean? While being in a season, I was leading the team in minutes. So very interesting in terms of in-season training is that the tough part is getting the work done. And so what I would do is I would actually go, like normally a team is going to practice sometime during the day, maybe the afternoon, rarely at night, because you got the day, to do this stuff. So I would go at like 9 o'clock at night or whatever to the local fitness center, like not at the college. I just go off by myself to the local LA Fitness, which is a big chain in America. And I would they have aerobic steppers, they have, dumbbells, squat rack, and I would do those 3 sessions. And I started playing with, okay, I can add some seated calf, I can add some Romanian deadlift, so a lot of the system and different equipment had to take place. I didn't know anything about hip flexors at that time. I didn't know how to make shift Nordics. So my speed and my 1 foot jumping didn't quite get there, but I got to where I could dunk off 2 feet. Like my vertical was going, and that's where it's funny in basketball. Like I said, my vertical went up 3 inches. Well, I'm only talking about a left-right plant because that's all I tested, was they give you a little running start and you have a left. And then for me, it was a left, but everyone picks like one plant. You really should be testing 4 plants. So when I went back, I became the strength coach for my college, and I would test all the players on all 4 plants and then actually try to get, all those numbers up. But that's really the tough part, is getting it in. And at first it's overcoming mentally, like you're tired, you know what I mean, from the practicing and stuff. So that's why I found if I tried to get it, even if it meant, look, how many athletes do you know who stay up kind of late at night,
100%.
So many do. So it's like, why not just cut out the TV and go to the gym at 9, 10 o'clock at night? If that means by the end of the season, feeling like $1 million, you know what I mean? So, and then it starts to get easier. Your body adapts to it. In a lot of countries, they do Olympic weightlifting. They train multiple times a day at super heavy loads, and your body just kind of gets used to it. But that would be my advice. One day reverse step ups, one day split squats, one day squats, and then try to separate those 3 sessions from each other, and then try to get them as far as you can, from your practice in general. But if it came down to it, I've lifted on game days in the morning. I've gone to the gym right after a game just to go get it in, because that's money in the bank that by the next game, once you're in the game and the adrenaline's there, now you'll be glad that your split squat, reverse step up and squat are stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the difference between your ATG system is it's rebuilding you. These aren't workouts where they're tearing you down and it's 2 a day CrossFit type stuff where it's breaking you down.
Yeah.
Your thing is it's actually building soft muscle tissue or protection. Yeah. And that's why, even though it seems a little bit late or you might be a bit tired, that it actually might be worth it.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. So that's the thing. If I never went and put in that session, well, I would have been like everyone else on the team and not been able to jump as high. But you see what I mean? So it's all of a sudden the practice, now you're finishing practice in games like, well, my knee doesn't hurt at the end like it normally does. Like, I feel like I could go dunk right now at the end of the game. You know what I mean? Like, so now the load of the practices and games becomes less. So that's really the trick, is to actually just make that game get easy. I mean, look at LeBron James. He's so strong. The game is quite little load on him compared to a player who has to work. If you've ever seen him in open court, or if you've seen him how high his head gets in relation to the rim, his speed and jumping ability, when he sets his mind to it, if you tested him at the peak of his adrenaline, we're talking 6'8", 45-inch vertical, blistering speeds of an NFL wide receiver. So the game is pretty easy. It's like, what if you only had to practice for 20 minutes and play 10 minutes in the game? Recovery would be. So the trick to recovery is that, make LeBron play 96 minutes, make him play against guys who are 7'9" with a 72-inch vertical, right? LeBron's going to be exhausted and beat and depressed and fit. You see what I mean? So it even affects your hormones and stuff. When you're the king, when you're the tiger, your hormones are higher. We've seen this. You can even lie to people about whether they're winning or losing, right? I reference all the time this study on 100-meter sprinters, and they made one group run either a meter longer and the other group run a meter short. So they didn't know this. One group thought it was getting slower and the other group thought it was getting faster. They were just being lied to because there's such a small amount they couldn't tell. And at the end of it, everyone who thought they were getting faster, when they retested, they actually got faster. They had more lean muscle tissue and less body fat because their testosterone was through the roof. That's what those hormones do. And the other group, testosterone was out the bottom and they lost muscle tissue and gained body. Try running faster when you're losing muscle tissue and gaining body fat. Good luck running fast. So the same thing applies in the game of basketball. When you start to become the dangerous one, now you start having even more hormones. Your body starts adapting to get even more athletic. It's kind of messed up for the person who doesn't have the genetics and then is being put into shitty workouts. You know what I mean?
I think that's the hardest part. I mean, one, the older you get, the more efficient you are in your skill. And the problem is with what's happening outside the court or even on the court when coaches punish people and you're sprinting all the time and you're just breaking your body down. You just think, how am I actually getting better? But here, like you said, the rookies and the vets. Yeah, lowering your vertical, you're overtraining
you guys. So I want all of you to have lower verticals by science. You know, what if it was a scientific, like you ever see the movie Liar Liar with Jim Carrey?
Mm-hmm.
What if that your basketball coach would be going, you know, I have a lot of failures of my own and a really shitty life, and my wife is, you know, cheating on me. So you guys are now, I'm going to lower all of your verticals. I'm going to lower everyone's vertical jump on this team before next game with this extra running. And then I'm going to blame the shit out of you when you lose because of my mistake in making you run more. I coached a team for 3 years, and I can tell you the exact system by the last year. I only let them go on the in season. We only went on the basketball court for games. Comprehend that for a second.
What about reps upon reps? What about reps getting in the flow?
If you're not good, you're not good. You got to be good by the time the season comes around.
Yeah.
If you can't study your film and go play and be good at basketball, your problem was way before the season started.
What do you do about team chemistry, though? Team chemistry.
Playing balls out with a ton of energy. Everyone's joints are feeling good. Mm-hmm. And studying film. You don't have to take your body out there and do the walkthrough. We're not pieces of meat. We're spiritual beings. We're very smart. And so you can, in season, you can literally just play games because you have your whole pre-game warm-up and stuff, and then you play the game. So what if you're not in chemistry game one? You learn from it. You watch film. You get better. So we would just hit the court for games. Mm-hmm. It was like 2 to 3 games a week. And outside of that, we did our 3 leg strength sessions. What was the result? Guys who had no recruitment at any level were getting full ride D1 offers from big schools. Why? Because they're dunking on people and stuff. They're shooting NBA range threes because when they missed that shot at the start of the year, I'm not saying don't shoot it. I'm saying shoot that shit again. And again, and you know what I mean? So, but I knew what guys could do coming into the season. So I knew whose potentials are what, you know? So I know whose potentials are what, and now I'm going to coach them to that potential. At this level, a season's like 3-4 months long. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I had just been with these kids all summer, and I made them play it. I made them play against me and my buddies. And in season, if there ever was a week that we didn't have like 2 or 3 games, right? Mm-hmm. Any holiday breaks or whatever, I made them play against us. So same thing. We didn't practice. I made them play. They actually, throughout the season, they ended up playing me and my buddies like 16 times. We beat them every single time. Talk about getting better. Imagine getting to play against people better than you. That's your practice. And you only get to hit the court maximum of 3 times a week.
Yeah.
That shit pushes you to be better. Now you don't know what a slow rep is. You don't know what it's like to shoot a shot that's not contested. You don't know what it's like to not play hard defense. Even I think it fucks up your mind doing the walkthrough reps where you're not even playing real defense. You're like training yourself to move slowly. I think off season is where you make your players good. In season is where you let them play and you coach the confidence up and you get their body stronger while every other team is going down and getting beat up. Get your players more athletic and stronger and give it a shot. And by the last game of the season, we beat the best team in the entire area who had beaten us by like 30 at the start of early in the year, they beat us by like 30. By the end of the year, we're basically the best team in the whole area. And I was getting guys the most scholarships for where they started. So again, proof is in the pudding. I transform my players and my team more than anyone that we were playing against.
Well, you're coaching and bulletproofing one, which you did during the off season and the no injuries. See,
0.
It's a skill to be available. The second skill, it sounds like you coach, is decision making. You had them make decisions under pressure and all types of scenarios over and over again. And that
they don't even know what practice is like in season.
Right.
You get used to practice. Now in the game, it feels different. They only know game. And the only thing they get when there's no fans there is when they're playing against people even better than them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's not like you can simulate that for every level, but for young players, damn, you can make freaks with that strategy.
game decision, game making. A part of my program is obviously it's been hugely influenced by ATG and how that sport specific training. I'm tired of trying to be good at fitness, squatting, pressing, benching, good at fitness, and it's tearing me down. So I've been really trying to figure out what this gap is. I literally did everything to the team, a little bit, OCD, a little bit like you, because I didn't have the genetics, small little white girl. I don't look the part, but somehow I got it done, surprisingly. But then now I'm kind of hitting some unnecessary, injuries and all that. So that gap, I'm like, wow. So I have a curriculum building from you always say ground up. I say bottom to the top, can't totally copy, but basically I am your basketball curriculum. So I have that going. That's obviously my specialty. And then adding to get the complete athlete, the complete program, the all around smart athlete, the podcast is Smart Athlete, adding in your ATG system to be able to build from the ground up your game and your body. Cause like you said, once you get older, you have that efficiency of your skill, that it's easy. It just looks easy, but then people give up. Yeah.
This was our skill session. So in the off season, we work our skills, and the skill session starts with 2-ball dribbling. So my idea is, I don't care if you're 6'6", 6'8", 6'9", you're going to get the handles of someone who's a guard, right? Yeah. That was actually the foundation. I had guys 6'6", 6'8", 6'9", playing point guard, shooting guards. I was able to take guys who played in the post and make them play guard by getting the handles and the athleticism. So it starts with the handles every session with those 2-ball drills, which it takes hundreds of hours to get those down, really. Yeah. It's the only drills I found that literally takes like 100+ hours to get them down. And then season, we'd hit the court 2 days a week. One day would be like pickup style. For us, it was like pro-am. So these young guys are playing against pros and stuff in the off season. And the other day was one-on-one battles, game to 50 by 2s and 3s, where, you miss, you get like king of the court style. Yep. So that's all they knew. I mean, they only know competition. That's my thing. Like I'm never going to just do a drill. Now for the one-on-one battles, you only get to use one move. So no one does this. You have a one-on-one battle, you only get to use one move. So everyone knows, like, everyone's doing jab series today. Everyone's doing jab series. So now you have to score on a jab series and you get 5 seconds from the time you get the ball. You get the ball, you have 5 seconds to take your shot. And the defender knows you're using jab series, because at high level, they're going to study your film. Yeah. The little quick hitters can come in handy, but you have to have moves that even if the defender knows what's coming, your counters and stuff so well. So that's all my players knew. They only knew 1 day a week one-on-one battles, 1 day a week full court games. And then you do your 3 leg sessions. Freaking players fly with that. And then after, when we finish the one-on-one battle, when we finish the pickup game, then we work on our dunking.
If you want to learn more about becoming the all-around smart athlete, go to besmartbasketball.com and start building your game and your body from the bottom to the top.
So we're working our dribbling, our actual moves or gameplay, and our jumping twice a week in the off season. And that's it.
Yeah, it's like coordination, dexterity. Then you're going to your go-to moves. What are they? Learning to read the defense, because you can have go-to moves. If you can't read defense, it's not going to happen. Yeah, it's basketball is a little bit like
King
chess.
Of the hill.
Yeah, you got to be
to win.
Exactly. You got to be able to kind of shift someone over by your eyes or by a shoulder lean or things like that. That has to be, like you said, can only be done in competitive situations. Now, if it's youth, do you take more time for drills? How would you, and especially with weights and kids, and we've discussed that.
I don't know. I could only guess. Because I was working with like high school or up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could only guess, but I still would be. Yeah. I'd be trying to make some young kids with like crazy athletes, like, little kids who can do like 20 Nordics in a row and shit. And then same thing. I would just try to have them the thing is you get used to only knowing pressure because you're only doing your stuff. I don't care about, so if you don't have a jab move, that's on you. Like, go figure it out on your own time. Now you come to the one-on-one battle and now you have to use it. And then you get to study your film, So it's the same thing. So we're in the off season studying our film twice a week when we do the one-on-one battle and we do the pickup game. So you learn what works and what doesn't.
Basketball smarts, basketball X and O's, becoming a master of your craft, the IQ part of it. I'm rebranding to Be Smart Basketball, and in the release, it's going to be the SMART playbook. So it's going to be the game plan, the methodology, the X's and O's, the go-to moves, like everything and why. And then obviously supplementing it with Ben Patrick Athletic Truth Group and how that works. Like even just the split squat, that's your first step. When you think first step in basketball, or, that big long, lunge step, and it directly relates. And then reverse step up, just like the first step, you go reverse step ups. That's my step. That's my step back move. Yeah. And then I have my split squat. Well, that's my first step in a basketball game. The VMO. Well, that's my VMO, whatever, double leg squats. That's my dunking. That's my jump shot. It actually, to me, is really relates.
Yeah.
Directly.
Yeah. You're going to have a solid system. You're going to be making some killer players. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And down the line, I'm sure I'll be in more opportunities like that. Right now, I've just been really focusing on ATG since Corona, That's
what I was going to ask you.
I was training NBA guys, when Corona really took off, you know what I mean? So right when it was like, what's this Corona thing? I had like NBA guys coming in and were like my daily training partners, that I'm playing against each day and stuff. So each day on the court. So it took an interesting turn.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask. ATG basketball, Ben Patrick basketball. Is ATG, I know that,
on the horizon.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying, especially with Keegan Smith and ATG, for coaches right now, like you said, you can't do your go-to moves if you're not bulletproof and strong anyway. So you're getting that first thing down. And you can ATG
and it
basketball.
To everyone. Football. Yeah, exactly. So right now I have to put a system there for everybody, so I'm on the fourth layer of really like a kind of like a 10 layer system. Like someone could train for like 120 weeks of like consistent, I'm trying to put something together that's different than just 6 weeks, 12 weeks. And most of my career I've gotten here by having, 12-week programs, which is great, but I'm trying to put together something where someone could train for 1.5 to 2.5 years and really wind up just completely different from that point. And then attempt something where it's like, how little do you need? Because that would be like, let's say I was retraining you from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Make a beast. And then I think in an hour a week of training, I think you could maintain all that, if not get even better. Like you see how easily I do these reverse Nordics and stuff,
Yeah.
Look how little time is. Imagine if you just supersetted that, reverse Nordics, and you just supersetted those two.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but for someone who doesn't have those qualities, it's going to take way longer to get them. But man, for someone who can just crush some levitating Nordics and then reverse Nordics back and forth in 10 minutes, you could have the best knees in the league and then in 10 minutes be getting even better knees. You see what I mean? So I'm trying to set up a 1.5 to 2 year route that you get such a dominant body that then in an hour a week, you could maintain it. Cause that's where I feel like for a pro athlete, now imagine if you only had to spend an hour a week on your body to have like one of the best bodies in the league. Now you can recover so well. You see what I mean? So the trick is wherever you're starting from, now trying to get there while playing your sport. It is what it is, but I'm trying to make something where anyone could be one of those elite athletes for their sport. And then in an hour a week, just maintain it from there. If not, get more bulletproof.
No, that totally makes sense. And then how many women will go to females a little bit? I know you used to have a female standards. I'm not sure that's the case as much anymore. How many females are in your program?
80. Yeah, I mean, and 80%. So roughly 80% of the strength of a male standard would be a female standard.
Okay.
So the only place that's going to seem tricky is, let's say we're talking about a weighted chin up. So for a man, 50% of your weight is like the highest that I think is necessary to coach for. Like I wouldn't coach someone beyond 50%. I would look at other things. For a woman, it'd only be 20%, because for a man, 100% of body weight plus 50, 150. So 80% of 150 is 120. So 80%, if I have half my weight on chin-ups, for a woman, it doesn't mean you have to do 40% of your weight on chin-ups. 20% would be just in. So when it comes to a body weight movement, you would kind of take your body weight plus the additional weight.
That makes sense.
In terms of the male number. But yeah, roughly 80%. And so we have all kinds of stuff ahead we're working on, but our eventual stuff, it'll allow someone to calculate that really easily.
Right. No, that makes sense. So right now, a little competition. If you and I were playing one-on-one, or you can go back to when you were playing in college and stuff, but even now, what's your secret? What's your go-to move? If I was guarding you, what would be your first? Is it jab? Is it a shot fake? Is it step X? What's your game?
I'll show you one. I'll show you an example of one, which is what I start with, because everyone ends up in this position. So meaning a lot of players are working on go-to moves that require you to be the dominant player on the team with all the, with all the time with the ball. So I like this one where it's literally when you catch the ball. So I'll show. So this is a sequence of using every option. I'll describe the options. Okay. Let me try to get that one more time.
Oh yeah. I might have seen this. Yep.
All right. First option, second option, third option, fourth option, fifth option. So I could only do that. And you could know. So as I'm catching it, my right foot is going back. Yeah. And who's stronger pushing back than I am? Not many people in that anyways, but I'm right-handed, right? So naturally you have to leave my left side a little bit open. Otherwise my right hand is open to shoot.
Right.
Maybe the screen's flipped, but
as you're
this
defending.
hand,
gotcha.
You have to have your foot closer here so that your hand can defend my shot. That means the left side has to be a little bit open. So as I'm catching the ball in the air, if my right foot pushes like a track meet as hard as it can that way to drive left, then I can get around. So the only way to stop that is to try to predict that, boom, I'm already to the right. And if you try to predict that, boom, it's a hesitation. And now if you back up, the shot's wide open. And if you try to defend the shot, then I can pump fake. And I could use only those 5 and I could score so many. So like that session, I had an NBA guy in there, a really good overseas pro. I mean, I spanked these motherfuckers like bad. Like I've beat some pros as bad as like 50-19, like just destroyed them with them trying. But it's too, I don't even have to think. It makes it easier on me. I get to just
off a catch.
Feel it.
What if I say you had to do power moves only, as in I hand you the ball as your defender?
Then it would be jab series, which is very similar. Yeah. Because you jab or you hesitate. And if the person gets too close, you have that same back foot. And off the jab, since the ball's in my hands, as I start to jab that way, I've trained myself so I can jump and shoot like that. So I don't have to bring the ball. Not everyone can do that. So Kevin Durant can do it from there. Kobe could shoot from either side. So if you try to overplay either side, that's the one I beat a guy 50-19 on that move, because I happen to get hot. And if I lean on my jab step here and you try to cover that, I can shoot from here. And if you try to overplay there, I can shoot from here. You see what I mean? Yeah. And I have either jab or head. And that's from watching Kobe Bryant film. Certain guys like Kobe and MJ and stuff, they were doing things with their feet that some overseas pros I've trained who think it's like political why they're not in the NBA or something like that. They literally have no idea what the top guys are actually doing with their feet. They're actually doing different things with their feet and with the ball. And so every situation on the court is going to have a most advantageous move. Like you said, if you handed me the ball, right? Yeah. The most advantageous would not be to start dribbling, because from here, I can be more aggressive, right? Off a catch, the most advantageous would not be to then stop and jet, because as I'm catching the ball, I have momentum on my side. You see what I mean? So if you're dribbling the ball up the court, you have momentum on your side. So the most advantageous would not be to stop and then shuffle laterally. But if you're already dribbling and the defender's there, then shuffling laterally can allow you to get some momentum because you don't have forward space. So I try to train my guys to only have one tool per scenario on the court. As soon as you add a second tool, already different indecision adds into it. The move will be less fierce and strong. So if you study enough film of NBA guys, you'll actually see that the best score the most points actually have the least moves per how much they score. And most people think it's the opposite. Like most people would think like, James Harden has the most moves. No, he scores the most points per move, but he's doing things with his feet that most people aren't even aware of. When he's doing his between the legs thing, if his heel steps, he's not going forward. He's not going forward. As soon as that toe comes down, the toe for go, and heel means he's just baiting you. So as soon as that toe comes, he gets to, and then just keep going forward.
Yeah.
And then since he's on his toe, if you try to cover that, instead of hesitating and going past you like that, he keeps this foot here and he sells that foot and goes it. So he's just doing simple things with his feet over and over. So he has there's the least room for error. It's like in a fight, if you reach down and you have like 7 different guns, you see what I mean? It's better to just be like, okay, I've got my distance gun and I got my knife up front. And then I just master those tools. But most basketball players have too many moves and they're not actually as good as the top players at any one of those moves.
Well, yeah, I mean, James Harden's really doing reverse step ups with the basketball in his hands with a bit of a bounce, reverse step ups. That's James Harden's moves.
Yes.
We're renaming it first of all. But
that's fair.
Yeah, I think with the moves, and that's what I've been coaching as well. Let's say you have rim finishes. Sure, you have reverse, floaters, step throughs, whatever, up and unders. And then taking just those 3 and doing it in different scenarios and different areas where it looks different. So it seems like a new move, but it really isn't. And it's just doing that same, like you said, catch series, jab series, whatever it is, in different situations and learning to read the defense.
Yep. And even James Harden's between the leg series, if you turned that, now he's left-handed, right?
Yeah.
But if you turned that into your jab series, it's the same motions.
Yep.
So what I described with the catch series, with the jab series, with the between the legs hezzy series, it's the same motion where you're training yourself to actually put the ball of your foot down rather than the heel down. You're training yourself to put the ball down and have the back ball of the foot. So with this action, if you want, this foot can go past and now you're completely past, or this foot stays planted and it sells and the defender jumps that way and you're going this way. So this foot can either pick up and go past or not, or the front foot, but it's too fast for a defender, but you start to feel that yourself. So it's amazing how few things you need, but either you're doing the exact footwork the top players are or you're not. And so when we would warm up for these sessions, I would help guys figure that out, but then they would watch the film and they could see what they could look at their feet and the ball and see what they were doing or not doing. But let's do closing because I have to run.
No, you're fine. I really
we could talk basketball we could talk basketball all day. No. And I wish I was playing basketball, but it is what it is. And
that's what I was going to ask you. Have you done anything? Yeah.
No, nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
I am putting in like a home hoop. And so hopefully I'll do like some kind of breakdowns for fun, just for free on YouTube, but it's just really simple. I'm trying to make this like this 1.5 to 2.5 year ATG route. So I'm living it. So I'm only on the 4th out of like 10 stages, so I'm like 40% of the way through living it. So a year and a half from now, hopefully I'll get back to it and have my weekly pickup games, my weekly one-on-one battles. But at that point, I'll be able to do my 10 minutes a day program. So I've got to live this 2.5 year route,
right? Then
set up my 10 minutes a day maintenance. That way I can just do the basketball and actually have mind on that while doing the 10-minute a day maintenance. But right now it's all on the ATG route.
Well, you'll probably come back better and stronger. It'll just be your decision making, but decision making will come. That rustiness will come back, but your ability will probably be even better. And I've heard you say you want to dunk with your son, so you got to keep at it anyway. So you got your own accountability, but
that's part of it too. I want to come back like in a year and a half, and I want people to go, fuck.
Yeah.
Because I want to be so much more explosive than I was the last. So that's kind of like my secret weapon is like, just when people are like getting tired of knees over toes guy, you know what I mean? And think like, okay, he made like a good transformation. I want them to go, fuck, now in his 30s, he's more athletic than the last time we saw him playing a year. Like I want from the very first pickup game a year and a half from now to be faster, jumping even higher. You know what I mean? Even more explosive. And my game is so simple. I'll play just as good as when I left off because my game is brutally simple. There's like nothing to think about. I use only a few moves and I basically get lower than anyone on defense. So it's just fucking annoying to play against me. Like I'm going to be lower and stronger on defense. And I'm going to be shading away from the middle, no matter what position I'm in on the court. Anywhere, if this is the midline, anything on that side, my body's going to be shading proportionately away from the middle. And same thing on the other side. And I'm really low. So you literally can't go middle on me. Like it's not like in my system of coaching, like it's just not allowed to ever let someone go. You literally can't let someone go middle on you. And if they try to cross back, that has to be a steal because you're lower than them. If not, the legs and back are too weak. You put your legs plus your seated good morning and you can really get up in people. So basically my game's so simple and it's built on being a distributor in the first place. So even if I haven't shot a basketball, my open court move, like I'm not stopping. I'm literally running full speed at whoever's in front of me and just veering. And then I'm going to be creating assists. You know what I mean? So from the very first time I'm back, I'll just put some shooters around me and I'll just be running full steam. But yeah, so trust me, I can't wait. And that's going to be in a year and a half from now, that'll be my marketing campaign will be, this 2.5 year route that I just did in my 30s now has taken me now to a whole new level with even more inches on my vertical, even fast. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to, if that doesn't work, well, then what am I selling? You know what I mean? So that's my whole thing. Everything I'm selling now is like real shit that myself and others have done. So I'm just trying to take that to the next level. You know what I mean? That someone like you or me could go and get even faster, you know what I mean? Jump even higher, even at even as time goes on. So that's what I'm trying to do. And then when I'm done, I'm going to have to play basketball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the mentality is being able to, you finally work all these years to have this skill level for myself, 35, and I have to stop just because my body's breaking down. I mean, sometimes I understand that happens, but at least want to know that I did everything that I could to give myself the best possible chance to use my skill at its highest level. And I'm trying to
so much about the game now.
Yes. Yeah.
What if you were at your most athletic now? You see what I mean? So that's what I'm doing. Is now I know so much about the game. So now what if I can be by far my most athletic in my 30s? This could be a secret weapon, for athletes.
And basketballers, they have too many non-contact injuries. And that's why I really wanted Australian basketballers to really hear this. There's tons of Aussies in the NBA and WNBA now. And even, the Opals, so the national team here in Australia, they're always podium standards at the Olympics behind USA every single year. And I'm just trying to figure out a way to help my opponents at the moment, because I still play against them. I'm interviewing them at the same time. But hey, if they get better, I get better. If they get better, I get better. That healthy competition, trying to help figure and help them out how they can, play for a longer time. And especially with women athletes, because no one believes in us. We get underpaid, under accredited, under whatever. But hey, girls can dunk. I had to lower my rim a little bit or use a smaller ball or whatever. But I think more women can. It's just that
and kids,
no one believes
everyone can dunk. Everyone can dunk.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that holds us back from building these abilities is we don't try to dunk like Mike if we can't dunk. We should be on the rim height that we can, mimicking his exact motions and movements. Because if we end up jumping like sloppy as fuck, you know what I mean? He did things differently in the air. So how can you expect to jump like that if you don't jump like that. I mean, it's that simple. So
that intentional jumping,
at least jumping with the same motions in the air that the top guys are jumping with. You know what I mean? So everyone can dunk. Kids should be dunking. That's what I plan with my hoop, is to put out a series called Everyone Can Dunk, and be like, okay, this week we're breaking down this famous dunk. Well, what occurred? What did Dwayne Wade actually do there? What did Michael Jordan actually do there? All right, lower the rim down to a level that you can actually do that. Because even by going through that motion, you'll be stimulating yourself to get more athletic, even if it's just going to be a finger roll in the game, but you'll be getting more athletic than doing a box jump, because Michael Jordan didn't jump like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Well, just
no how much jump ropes or box jumps or any of these things, you're not jumping more like MJ. So whether it's a dunk or not is beside the point. It's that you would get more athletic by actually doing the motions that the top guys are doing.
No, that definitely makes sense. Just to wrap up, you have to answer this question in less than 10 seconds, because I know you have to go and I know that you can't help yourself.
Probably do a bad job.
No, but any NBA guy, who do you simulate your game, or who do you relate with the most? Your game, whether it's Steve Nash, whatever. Who's your game most like, or look most like? Who you got?
Easily John Stockton and Michael Jordan combined, because it's built on John Stockton. Like, if I'm not the most fundamental guy, the lowest turnovers, I'll show you, like, this is for a video, because let me put it this way. All right. John Stockton, this is against an NBA player. John Stockton in his entire life has never elevated for a jump shot like that. It looks probably like I'm left-handed but I'm not left-handed. But
I got you.
Only guys like Jordan are elevating like that on jump shots. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the point is that my son trying to be the next John Stockton and worshiping John Stockton, only to find out most of those guys don't make it because they're not athletic enough. There's only so many spots for people who aren't athletic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But 100 out of 100 Michael Jordans would have made the NBA. You see what I mean? So that's, yeah. So the skill development, I was trying to be the next John Stockton. The body development, I'm trying to be Michael Jordan. So of course I'm not. I'm shorter, way less arms,
yeah,
all this stuff. But by trying to be like that, yeah, I've become more. John Stockton wasn't dunking in games like I do and stuff. You see what I mean? So me and John Stockton are like the same height, and I'm built on those fundamentals: free throw shooting, assist to turnover ratio, these kind of things, defense. But now I'm trying to get, I'm trying to take my John Stockton body and make it as MJ as I can.
Well, you're on your way.
Yeah.
You're on your way for sure. But no, I appreciate you coming out and talking all things basketball, and hopefully, people are able to understand your system, but also just hear your thoughts about the game of basketball. And just, I think it's an awesome sport because, like you said, it's endurance, it's power, it's thinking, it's decision-making, it's finesse, it's a little bit of everything and skill, but then you have to have that power and that how sometimes it's not even how high, of course you want to jump high, but how quickly you can get off the ground, talking about that push punch step and how are you able to get up before the tall trees come to block it and all these things. So I appreciate you coming and talking, and, basketball does bring people together and travel and just the holistic of what you offer to the game of basketball, also Athletic Truth Group and ATG for Coaches with Keegan Smith. The humble, hardworking blue collar, that's my style. That's definitely something that probably what attracted me to the system first. And then being able to actually see results on it. I've been on it for about a year now. Implementing it into Be Smart Basketball. And I'm looking forward to ATG basketball soon at some point in life. But thanks again. I really do appreciate it, Ben.
Totally. Yeah. And all of us are going to have our, maybe some sports background, maybe not. But if we do, I think there is a duty there. And that's why I plan on it. I'm just having to patiently work my way there. But yeah. I think there is a duty for us not only to master the fitness, the physical training, which affects everyone. Like my mom, like I would drop basketball and it could not even exist for me to have my mom. You know what I mean? So yeah. The heart of it is the exercise science of it. But then I think there's a duty also with our knowledge of knowing what it's like to go through that sport. I think we can help a lot more than just a strength coach who didn't grow up in that sport. You know what I mean? So I think we can take that and then help them figure out not necessarily the workouts, but the on-court stuff, the on-field stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm sure in athletic troop group, there's going to be people from all kinds of different sports backgrounds looking back, knowing what they know now, that they could go really help coaches and players with their bodies so that they're not screwing it up so bad on the sports side. You know what I mean? Helping them be smarter on the sports side. Smarter. So
yes. Be smart.
If you play basketball, just make the smart choice and do her Be Smart basketball program, because there's not going to be something like that in the world that's offered. I don't offer any basketball services. There's nothing that's going to have the blend of ATG and basketball like what she's got. So.
Especially at a professional level and a female. I can't find one female online coach and in person who has both. Not taking all the credit for me. It's all my experiences and what I'm learning from you guys and everything, and putting it into a Be Smart style and my own flair. But behind it all is being smart. And being willing to serve others. And I love
That's what life is about. That's where we get our happiness from. Our own gain is part of happiness for sure, but there's more to gain by helping others. You're one career. So no matter what you do in your career, well, now what if you help two careers? You see what I mean? That's life is simple. And that's why serving others is going to be superior for, in terms of how much happiness you can get from it, So
yeah, for sure. Well, hey, keep balling out, keep serving, keep being smart. And, I'll keep following you and supporting you from afar over here in Australia. So we'll talk again soon.
All right. See ya.
All right, peace. See ya.
Thanks to KidsViz for sponsoring today's podcast. KidsViz offers a range of sports and PE-based programs delivered both in person and virtually. To find out more, head to kidsviz.com.au. This episode of The Smart Athlete was proudly engineered and released by the LUDUS.